Are you still looking for a couple of last minute decor items or a couple of last minute gift ideas? Well, you're in luck. Hi, my name is Leslie and welcome to Happy Tuesday. I've titled today's episode Elves and Snowmen and Reindeer. Oh my, because that's what I have for you today. 2 elf/gnome projects, a reindeer, and 2 new snowmen. So, if you stay to the very end, I'll have a hint on next week's project. But until then, let's get started. Let's get started with project number 1. I think he is adorable. So here are the items that you're going to need, and most everything came from the Dollar Tree, except for that bag of buttons. And the brown paper is from a wrapping paper roll. So I'm going to first cut a little cone shape to put on top of that tree shape to finalize that out. And then I'm going to take this scarf that I bought from Dollar Tree and I am going to cut it to fit the tree to give my little gnome his red color. And then I'm going to hot glue that down to the styrofoam ball. Now it is actually a styrofoam tree, not a ball. And my hot glue gun would be on the low temp for that, so I don't melt the styrofoam. Then I took this little pom-pom from a package I bought at the Dollar Tree and put that on the tip of his hat. The next thing that I'm going to do is take some wood filler and I am going to fill the holes on both sides of that bead so that it looks less like a bead and more like a nose. And that'll dry pretty quickly. And while that's drying, I'm going to cut part of this chamois rag that I got at the Dollar Tree in the automotive section, and I am going to make a little fur piece for the tip of his hat. Now I just took some pillow fill and I'm going to use that for a beard. I searched and searched and searched to try to find faux fur somewhere, but nowhere had it. So here it is, and I think it looks pretty good. Then I took some white felt and cut out eyes, and I'm going to glue his little beard down, and then I'm going to add his nose in there, and then I will glue down that fur piece of his hat, and then I can place the eyes and move on to the next steps here. Now, oh, I forgot, here's his little buttons. And we're going to glue 2 little buttons underneath his beard. And then I will take some scissors and trim up his beard a little bit and give it a shape that I like. And then I am going to take that black wire that I bought at the Dollar Tree in the automotive section, and I'm going to secretly, you can't see it, I did it off a camera, make a pair of glasses for my little gnome. So I just formed 2 little circles and wrapped the wire around them so that it held them together, and then made little side pieces so that it'll fit around his head. The next thing I'm going to do is take my black paint marker and I am going to create some eyes out of these 2 pieces of felt that I cut. Now, I did this, I don't know, several times using black felt, trying to create them on paper, and I think these eyes ended up turning out so cute just on that little felt piece. And here he is. I think he's just adorable and has so much character. What do you think? Let's move on to project number 2. I think this snowman is so adorable, and he is mostly Dollar Tree supplies except for the hat, which I bought from Walmart. Now I could not find a styrofoam ball big enough to fit inside that Dollar Tree vase, and so I took the biggest size I had and my little air dry clay, and I formed the air dry clay around the styrofoam and then flattened it all out the best I could to make a nice little snowman head. I'm also going to fashion his nose out of the air dry clay, which you'll see here. Pick the buttons that I want to use for his eyes. After I've chosen those buttons, then I will paint those black so that he has some black eyes. And I'm going to use the other buttons that I have there for his snowman body. Now here I'm going to take apart this hat. It actually was an ornament. And here's his black button eyes and his little hat. And I let him dry with the hat on. Now I'm going to take some white chalk paint and I'm going to paint over this Dollar Tree vase and give it a nice coat all around the outside to make his body. The next thing I'm going to do is just set his head up in there. Now his head did not want to dry inside that vase, so I ended up setting it upside down inside the hat and letting it dry that way. I'm going to paint his little carrot nose with some chalk paint in the color pumpkin by Waverly. And then I will start working on his little scarf. Now you'll see that I bought this scarf from Dollar Tree and I'm using it in several of the projects today, but I did not want to use it without the fringe. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut out the size that I want it to be to wrap around his neck, and then I'm going to remove all the fringe because it's too long for that size of a scarf, and I will cut the fringe in half. And then I'm going to use this doll needle and I am going to put the yarn through the holes that were already in there, and then I'll take another needle here in a minute and I'll add some new holes and then put in the fringe. Now to put in the fringe, you just fold that yarn over and pull it through, and then pull one side through the loop in the other side and pull it tight, and voila, you've got fringe. I think the scarf turned out adorable. So once I've got that all completed, then we will put the head back on and wrap the scarf around, add his buttons, and he will be complete. If you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload a video. Comment the word of the day below, which today is presents. And that'll bring us to project number 3. I think these turned out so cute. So I took some wine glasses that I bought at the Dollar Tree and an old wine bottle, some green spray paint and some red spray paint, and these little elf ornament feet from the Dollar Tree. And we are first going to wrap the bottom part of the glass, actually it's the top part of the glass turned over, with some paper, because I'm going to spray the stem of the glass and the bottom in that red spray paint, and then I will flip the paper over. And I did all this outside without videoing it. I'll flip the paper over and I'll spray it with that green colored spray paint, which is the same color that I will spray that bottle with. Now, as that was drying, I took these little elf ornament feet and I cut them apart, and then I cut the bottoms loose, and I put in this dowel rod stick. It's actually, I think, from barbecue from the summertime. It's really, really long with a pokey end. And in hindsight, I should have made these sticks longer than just the elf legs so that it would stand properly inside that wine bottle. But I didn't think that far ahead. I was just trying to make sure that they stood up. And then I added some additional polyfill. Now this is just from an old pillow, and made it all fluffy. And once I got that done, I decided to decorate it with a little bit of this white car detailing towel, and because it's kind of fluffy, and I wrapped that around the bottom of his by his foot and also around the top, which is how I'll close it in. And I did this for both of the elf feet. Once I got both of the legs and feet done, I measured them up next to each other, and one was just a little bit longer, so I trimmed that down. And then I'm going to take some of this black felt. Now, I actually bought this at Michael's, I believe it was, for 97 cents. And I'm going to take one of these Dollar Tree pipe cleaners in the gold and make a little belt buckle out of that. Now I'll use the same pipe cleaners to make the belt buckles for the wine glass elves too. And here's a piece of red felt that I'm going to fashion his little neckerchief with, and I'm going to do a little zigzag pattern, and I just folded it over so that it would be even on both sides. And then I will trim the top down in kind of an oval shape so that it lays proper on that wine bottle. And I will glue all those pieces on after I spray paint that bottle green. Now here we are, bottle is spray painted green, and we're going to start adding the accessories. We've got his little neckerchief on. Now we're going to put his little belt on and the belt buckle, and then we'll set that aside. Oh, nope, I think next I'm going to glue the elf legs and feet on. And this is where I discovered that it would have been easier had I let the dowel pieces hold out further down the leg than just to the end of the leg. Then they could have just fit in there, and this would have been a little bit easier process. I also did put some hot glue between the legs to hold them together so that they would stand up proper. Now, to make sure it all stays together, I'm going to add another layer of faux fur detail towel in there and set that aside. And now I'm going to do the same thing with the wine glasses. I'm going to start by making his little neckerchief. Now this time I used some of that leftover red scarf that I bought at the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use some more felt. It's a little bit lighter than the red felt that I bought at Michael's, but it turns out so cute just the same. And so here's his little belt, and then I'm going to take some more of that gold pipe cleaner and fashion him a little belt buckle after I glue on his little zigzag neckerchief, and then I will do that with both wine glasses. Hot glue is great until it isn't. So I am going to touch up this little spot where I got hot glue that didn't need to be with a little bit of that spray paint and a paint brush. And now I'm going to take some Dollar Tree bells and fashion a little bell to go around the neckerchief. And this project will be complete. I think it turned out super, super adorable and would make a really cute gift. And here we are at project number 4. This would also make a really cute gift. So it is a decorated wine bottle with wine glass holder. Now I took some of this 55-pound wire that I bought at Walmart, and I am going to fashion it, and it actually ends up being in 2 separate pieces that I wind together around the wine bottle and then holding up the wine glass. Now, I can't tell you exactly how I did this because I played with it for probably an hour. And you're just going to see the beginning of it and then the final product. But I was trying to make sure that the wine glasses were going to be stable and that the decor piece would allow this whole thing to slide on and off the wine bottle while holding these wine glasses. Before I started decorating it, I let it sit on my work table for 2 days holding those wine glasses to make sure that it wasn't going to slip, they weren't going to fall, nothing was going to break, so that this would be stable. Now, my favorite tool of all, that air dry clay, I am going to fashion a snowman face and a little hat out of that clay. And now here I am making sure that it's not going to interfere with the wine glasses being up there and that it won't stick to the wine bottle. And so I put the face on there, and now I'm adding some extra clay onto the back side of the wire to make sure that the face will stay. And here I'm going to fashion him a little carrot nose to go on there, and I will add some little lines on its nose with my scissors there, and then I'll put the nose on so that it will stay attached as the clay dries. Now this air dry clay, it starts to dry within a couple of hours, but it's not completely dry for 3 whole days. So keep that in mind while you're making it. The next thing I'm going to work on is making him some little mittens to go on the hands at the end. And so, oh, here's his mouth. I made him a little air dry clay mouth, which I'll glue on later. I'd let that dry separately. And I made some little eyeballs, but didn't end up using those. And here I'm making the mittens. So I'm adding a little bit of decor on the edge of the mitten, and I took the shape and then cut a little thumb in there and then fashioned the mitten around. Now I did let this dry on the wire piece so that the indentation for where it will be glued on later was already formed inside the mitten. So here I am going to add those on, and I will leave those while the whole thing dries. And the next thing I'm going to work on is his hat. Now I wanted to make sure that the hat was going to be a good size for his head, and I will also let that dry on there. I realized during this project that scissors are a great way to cut this clay. I've been ripping it apart with my hands, and scissors are a great tool. So I am going to fashion his hat. Now here we are all dry, and I'm going to give everything some paint. So you'll see I've got black paint for his mittens, and I do paint the little trim piece red, and then I'll go back in and change it here in a minute. And I painted his hat black, and I painted his nose orange, and I painted the face white, and I used all of that was done with Waverly chalk paint. And here we are painting his little mouth, and I'll let that dry and glue that on, and we'll keep going with his painting. Before I drew his eyes actually on him, you can see I practiced here on my little sheet, and this sheet is actually a cutting mat from Dollar Tree, and I just paint on it and then I can wipe it off and use it again. I think his eyes turned out so adorable, and these paint markers are a wonderful way to do this. I add a little character onto his nose, and then I took a white marker and added a little highlight onto his eyes. And I think his eyes and his mouth give him so much character. And then I decided his hat needed a little bit of decor, so I took one of these picks from the Dollar Tree and cut off a couple of pieces and made him a little decor piece. And then I thought, he needed some more color on his hat, so I got this scrap piece of fabric that I found at Walmart, and I cut a little piece for his hat. And then I decided, instead of that red on his gloves, that it should all match, and so I'm going to cut a little trim piece for his mittens, and then I'll cut him a scarf, and so he will be all matching with this piece of remnant fabric. And here he is, all complete with the glasses, and then I'll take it off so that you can kind of see how it comes off. And I thought this will make the cutest little gift. You could maybe do some etching on the wine glasses and create a really thoughtful gift that it also becomes part of their Christmas decor. And here we are at project number 5, and this is my favorite. I don't know what the fascination I have with reindeer right now is, but oh my goodness. He turns out just so adorable. So you'll take 2 corks and a little sticker nose. I bought that sticker pack at Hobby Lobby, and then I take a little bit of this wire, and I'm going to make him some earmuffs with this wire and a piece of a red pipe cleaner. I've had this in my craft supply for quite some time and never found a reason to use it, but here is one. So I'm going to make him some little earmuffs, and then I am going to start working on his eyes, and I'm also going to use those from that little sticker dot pack. So we'll just take 2 of those little dots and we'll stick them on my cutting mat paint palette and just cover those in black and let that dry. And while that dries, we're going to work on legs. Now I worked on his legs a couple of different times. Started out really long and measuring it up against that cork and decided they needed to be shorter. And then you'll see later I cut them shorter again yet. And I just took this leftover scrap fabric that I had, and I'm going to make him a scarf out of that. Now I'll take some of these little screwdrivers that I bought at the Dollar Tree and kind of use them as picks to dig into the cork and make a little slot for his legs to fit in. I'm also going to make him a tail, and I will use these to fashion a little place for the tail to sit and some antlers, and I'll use them again. I will go back later and hot glue those in, even though I made him little holes for his legs to stay in. I'm going to glue his head on to his body and kind of give him a cute little tilt. And then I will put his little scarf around his neck, and I fashioned that into the little crook where his neck meets his body. Alright, so now I am going to kind of look him over and decide that he needs a tail, and so here I am going to fashion him that tail and get that put in. I wanted to apologize. Last week I told you that we were going to do a project using a frame, but that project will actually come up next week. I am trying to film multiple weeks together as I'm getting ready to move my dad down in with me, and I also have Christmas with family coming up, and so I wanted to make sure that I don't miss a Tuesday with you guys, so I'm getting ahead a little bit. So here we're going to glue his little eyes on, and I just cannot get over how cute he is. I should have taken a picture with this Cork one and the one that I did out of the logs and twigs earlier this season, but I did not. So here we are putting his antlers on, and then he will be done. I think he's just adorable, and I'm pretty sure he's going to stay up long past Christmas season. So here he is all done. Let me know below in the comments which one of these you liked best, and be sure to give the video a thumbs up. I appreciate all the kind comments you leave me each week. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do enjoy our time together. Now here's a little excerpt from next week's video of some of the items that you'll need for this project. I call it a winter candle. But until then, make it a great day and Happy Tuesday!